Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the In the Hub podcast, brought to you by Playbox Technology UK. This week we're speaking to Joop Janssen, Managing Director and owner of Joop Holding and Chairman of the Board at Roda JC Kerkrade Football Club. Based over in the Netherlands, Joop has held a number of board and management positions within the broadcasting space, forming a massively successful career over his 25 years in the industry. Hope you enjoy this episode. So welcome to the In the Hub podcast, Joop. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, Neil. How are you?
Yes, not too bad, thank you, Matt. And thanks for asking as well, Joop. So just before we do get started in the kind of main questions that we've got for you here, could you just fill us in on how you got started in the broadcasting industry?
Well, Neil, that's many moons ago. I was recruited directly from university into a pan-UK European project. It was called Eureka 95. And I was recruited by Philips Electronics in the Netherlands. The aim of the project was to come up with a new TV standard for the whole of Europe and maybe for the whole of the world based on a high definition picture quality standard. So that was quite exciting. It was a very well-funded project in those days. From research in video processing, compression technologies, all the way to the whole transmission side of things. And so I got involved as a design engineer, a system design engineer into that project. And money was no problem. We could build prototypes and everything from cameras all the way to recording to transmission. And I was also lucky to be the representative for Philips Electronics in the EU standardization bodies. So I got involved in early days already with the BBCs, the state broadcasters in general, the EBU, around the standardization of that new TV high definition standard. So that was quite exciting, and I learned a lot from the whole space just in 1 year. So it was a very exciting time. So, and maybe that was because it was such a fantastic first year that got me hooked on to the industry for a very long time. So after that, I got involved in the first direct-to-home satellite broadcasting. I was heading up a factory and an R&D center in France, where we developed and shipped the first complete satellite systems from MPEG encoders, the first digital encoders, with the multiplexing and everything to Canal Plus, for example, in France, DirecTV in the US, Measat in Malaysia, CCTV in China, and it was the first kind of direct-to-home satellite systems in the world. So that was quite exciting in the mid-90s. I was in the middle, mostly out of the US, running the North America operation in the merge of Bosch Television, the German part, together with Philips Transmission Products, where I came from originally, as well as then being bought by Thomson Multimedia, and then buying Grass Valley Group, almost in the same year. So it was a big merge of a lot of different brands and a lot of different cultures in one go, and I did that from with some colleagues from the US, and then I came back to Europe, or UK in this case, and I lived for 9 years in Cambridge, UK, and I was heading up the video camera accessory group in the Vitek group, with a lot of brands listed on the London Stock Exchange, winning the Queen's Award for Innovation, winning a technical Emmy with one of the product lines. So that was exciting as well. And the last few years, I was the CEO of EVS, the highlight and slow-mo live production leader in the marketplace, especially sports. And then the last few years, I get more involved in startups. So I maybe I'm reversing my career from a typical where you start in startups and then grow to bigger things. I actually I'm very keen on working with startups on some new technologies, and so the last one was in California with a company called Aperi, now part of Net Insight, that pioneered ultra low latency video processing software platforms. So that's kind of in a large nutshell, in a longer nutshell, kind of how I started and why I'm still excited about the industry.
Yeah, it's tough to cover all of that, simply because you've done so much, and like you said, you started off on these kind of landmark projects. And I do agree with the sentiment at the end there that people who've kind of been to the very top of the industry, it always seems like they gravitate back down towards these startups. And like you said, I don't know whether it's the excitement or that kind of drive to be an entrepreneur again, but I think it's a great place to be in. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So you've always kind of been a sportsman. You've been sports driven. Obviously, back in the professional kind of volleyball player days and stuff like that. And I think it's fair to say you've always had quite a vivid interest in sports as well. So was it always going to be a no-brainer for you to get involved with the sports side of broadcasting? Was that always going to be a given for you?
I think so. Although the companies I worked for, they were always involved in the technology behind the sports broadcasting. But I was always personally very fascinated by the storytelling of TV, of sports. What is the real story of the game, and what is behind the athletes' emotions? Really, when the pressure is up, like a Wimbledon final, breakpoint on the set or something like that. How can you capture that story and that story of the athlete and of the fans, and maybe of the coach or the manager, and how to give tools to the producer, director, and the director to really capture that and bring that live across the world. So that's always has been my drive, knowing that I've been as a youngster, I've been on that pitch, and there is a big story, and an individual story and a team story, and etc. that sometimes is not covered that well, and so being able via technology to make that happen is it really excites me.
Yeah, I think it's almost like you've got this unique perspective. You know exactly what's going on down on that pitch. You know what those players are feeling almost. I think it almost gives you this unique perspective to be able to plan these projects better and manage these projects better. Just knowing what goes into it as well. I think that's a great point. So Joop, obviously you've had a number of kind of board positions and roles within various companies in our space. As you were talking about a little bit earlier. Has there been a kind of a particular highlight project that you've worked on in your career? And I don't want you to kind of single out a favourite here. I don't want to cause any issues, but has there been one that has particularly been for you, really a source of passion for you?
Yeah, I'd like to mention two, if I may. Just one very quickly. I think the first direct-to-home satellite broadcasting, where we had a full digital video processing chain, including digital rights management. So I was the engineer that was asked to show it at the World Expo in Seville in Spain. First direct transmission from Wimbledon, the final, with a full digital chain, and having a smart card, and to show to people coming by and say, hey, now you're watching the final. It was Boris Becker against somebody. And now I pull out this card, this subscription card, and now you don't see anything. And it was kind of a very trivial demonstration, but there was a lot of technology behind it, and it all worked, in that setting. So I have vivid memories of being there to show that for the first time in the world, probably in the world, yeah. But a big project that I think also comes back to my sports background is the FIFA World Cup in Rio, 2014, where under the leadership of the FIFA, EVS, the company out of Belgium, worked with partners like AWS and Aspera and a few others on a digital live service whereby video clips, including 6 to 8 camera angles, were produced and distributed to millions over the air via the cloud. And this is within a minute or so after a goal or a red card. So imagine that you get a clip of the goal of England, right, in the World Cup, and within a minute on your iPad, and you can choose your camera angle yourself, behind the goal, from behind the player. You can see the reaction of the manager or of the celebrity in the stadium, and you can slow-mo it yourself over and over again to see, was it a handball or Maradona handball? It was a little bit earlier, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that was something really special, and it was a great FIFA service, and it really enhanced the ratings of the matches tremendously, because fans were more sitting in the living room, were more engaged actively into the game, what is happening, instead of sitting back and just listening to the linear broadcast.
Yeah.
And so that was a great thing, and very challenging to do that on a one event basis in Brazil, and having that covered around the world from subscribers in Hong Kong, in Japan, and everywhere over the world. So that from a volume and a technology point of view, that was quite exciting, and I think a new trend in broadcasting that I think we'll see more and more next to and in addition to the linear broadcasting.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was revolutionary for the time, wasn't it? And well done to you guys for getting that going and getting that on the world stage, basically. If we just move into Joop Holding, Joop, which is obviously you're the kind of managing director, the owner of Joop Holding. What is the purpose of this company, and what do you guys specialize in?
Yeah, we are in strategic advisory, interim management, investments as well. So we look at startups or at scale-ups, both in the media and telco space, so my traditional areas, but recently also in the medical technology field as well. So we help companies in turnarounds, spin-outs, fundraisings, M&A, strategic roadmaps. Hey, we have a new technology. How do we change our way of going to market, etc. So it's great. And so one of the projects I'm personally doing via Joop Holding is working on a potential spin-out of a fantastic new software platform for content automation and orchestration. There are many, but there is a very pure and new and a native cloud way to do content automation and orchestration. And this company is very well established and is seeing how that platform, that unique approach from a technology side, how that transforms even the company in total on who they are and where they should be, and so that's very exciting, and I think they will reinvent themselves via the technology into a completely different company, and I'm helping them to make hopefully the right choices. Right.
Yeah, it sounds like great stuff, Joop, and it must be quite exciting for you to be in the midst of all that change and stuff like that. Do you think change is technological change and change itself. Do you think that's something that you enjoy, managing and advising on?
Exactly, and especially then, what does that mean for the business or for what you want to achieve as the owner of that new technology, which is sometimes the missing part, because you see a lot of I have an engineering background, but I'm not as creative and inventive as a lot of other people and individuals in the industry. But they often miss then, okay, well, but then I need to change what I'm doing, because if I continue what I'm doing from a business perspective, I'm not maximizing my opportunities, or I'm missing completely the boat, and I actually, all the creativity and the new ideas get actually wasted because I'm not good at the rest of it, the commercial side or whatever it is. And so that's where I get a lot of excitement out. I understand the technology very well and can make then that bridge to the market. And
I think as a person, you're either completely scared of change and you hate change, or like you clearly are, excited to just embrace it and get on with it, basically. I think that's brilliant. So with trade shows and exhibitions officially coming back this year, do you think you're going to have a presence at these events, whether that be as an exhibitor or just an attendee? And do you think it's important for companies to kind of get straight back involved with these events after the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's an important question for the industry, but also for IBC and NEB, for example, but also for the suppliers and all the stakeholders in the broadcast industry. And it's not a straight answer, but I think so, that people should come back, and it's beneficial to bring these shows back up where they were. However, I think the interaction will change. So people will come to the shows with a different mindset. And I think it's important that the shows, but also the suppliers and customers are well aware of that and adapt to that. And I would certainly recommend that the digital remote engagement is not stopped, right? Everybody has ramped that up with webinars and live shows online, etc. I think that's here to stay and will complement the trade shows, or the trade shows will complement the online presence. So there is where the change will be, and so maybe you will get different audiences coming to your booth, but I think it's important that, and especially with all the change happening in the industry, change is not coming. We are in the middle of change, and if you don't get that, then you have to go to the trade show to get confronted with that news. So I think it's important.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm quite excited to see how it would prosper in a kind of hybrid world. So like you said, this mixture of digital content as well as the in-person stuff, for the people that are particularly keen to get back in those trade shows and back in that kind of atmosphere. So I think it'll be exciting to see, to be honest. And yeah, I just wanted to slip in a question about your position of chairman of the board at Roda JC Kerkrade Football Club, obviously based over in the Netherlands. Are there any kind of parallels that you can draw between your position at the football club and your previous positions within the broadcast industry? Are there any kind of similarities in the position you hold there and any projects that you've done throughout your career?
Yeah, my chairman position is a non-executive, but of course it helps to know the sports media landscape very well, and how money flows in that world. But like the media space, football clubs need to reinvent themselves, and to a large extent, because the changing behavior of fans and viewers is very similar. So how to create a sustainable business model. As you know, apart from maybe the Premier League, most football clubs are not very well funded, and have difficulty to break even, if that. So with the changing behaviors of fans and the amount of choices, the vast amount of choices that fans have to either go to the match or the game, consume online, etc. It's very important that as a football club you start to picture that and see how you can resonate with the changing behavior and create a business model that is actually sustainable and profitable, or at least break even for football clubs. So I see there the similarity, because a lot of the suppliers in the media space, technology space, will have to reinvent and are reinventing themselves because of IP, because of everything going to the cloud, because of the software, because more and more it's live, and so ultra low latency of your products is very important. So that's where I see a lot of similarities. Yeah.
And with kind of sports obviously resuming mostly back to normal now, after COVID-19, do you think that the current model of sports broadcasting and rights holding, do you think that's still sustainable? I know we've seen it change a little bit. And do you think it could be made, any easier or more profitable for both consumers and the clubs that you talk about?
Yeah, I think there that like many other industries, the connection between athletes, clubs, leagues, and the fans and the viewers will be more direct and more personalized. So either that means that some of the rights holders will be cut out or will have to present themselves differently. You see it, for example, with DAZN as a sports content provider. It will be more personalized, and I think the interactivity part, which is typically not part of broadcast, will but we see that in gaming and esports, and the connection with live content. And I know of quite a few experiments that UEFA and other sports leagues are involved with. That will be part of the future. But that direct connection between fans and the athlete or the team or the league will be paramount. And so everybody in that chain needs to adapt and see what their added value is, and then and run with it. So it will be very interesting to see that development. It will not be fast. Sometimes it will be fast, sometimes not. There's a lot of money involved, a lot of stakes, a lot of long-term contracts involved. So there will be some slowness in it, but the underlying current is very, I think, very prominent.
Yes. And yeah, I really just wanted to get your kind of insight on that, Joop, obviously with everything that you've been through in terms of sports and sports broadcasting. I think that was really interesting to see what you think about that and the current state of sports broadcasting in general as well. So Joop, if you could sum it up in one word and one word only, what do you envision for the future of the broadcasting industry?
Yeah, that's one word. That's always that's the trick question.
It can catch people out.
Yeah.
Some people think too much about it. Some people, it's.
If I may cheat a little bit, but personalized and interactive are the two words, and content engagement. So and engagement is the interactivity is very important. And yeah, my only message I have to all my clients and to my friends is get with it. don't stare at it that it's something in the future. It's here already, and go to some esports events and see what's happening behind the curtain. It's tremendous, and so that's if I cheat, I use 2 words.
I'll allow it today, Joop. I'm in a good mood. No, that was brilliant. I completely agree. And like you said, you see some of these esports events, and if you're not particularly involved in that industry, it just looks worlds apart, doesn't it? And the way they do things, it's just so embedded in the future that it's just amazing to watch sometimes. And I do like esports content. I think it's brilliant what those guys are mostly doing over there. So just to finish on then, Joop, are there kind of any exciting plans in the pipeline for you that you can talk to us about?
Apart from seeing my kids in Australia and the States, because that's of course not very nice. But seeing this unique content automation software platform really come to life and get in the marketplace, either via spin out or in another format. But and as I mentioned, I get involved in some other industries as well, mostly locally here where I live in the Netherlands, and it's working with the VCs and private equity on some new tech startups, and I'm concentrating for part of my time on circular economy, so more environmental recycling, sustainability. I get involved in regenerative medicines.
Brilliant!
Some very cool technology that really helps, certainly with the pandemic and so on, but really helps the health of people, and at the same time adds to the circular economy, which is of course one of the most important things in life for the current generation, but certainly for the generations to come. So that's a good mix of activities that I'm involved with.
Yeah. It's some great causes there, Joop, and obviously it's just nice to hear that you've got so much exciting stuff on. So much during the pandemic, it was so uncertain, and people just weren't sure what was going on. It's nice to hear that we're coming out at the end of it, and people have got a lot of exciting things on. And fingers crossed, restrictions lift. You'll be able to see your kids soon as well. Hopefully, I feel like it's the light at the end of the tunnel now, isn't it? With the vaccines and everything, I think we're definitely coming to the end. I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Otherwise, I need to get on that Blue Origin space rocket to get to get over. Yes,
I think we all will. So, Joop, how can people get in touch with you personally if they want to have a chat or they're interested in any of the services that you provide?
Yeah, probably best is either my LinkedIn profile, which is Joop Janssen, Janssen, or via email jj@yoapholding.com.
Awesome. So we'll link to your LinkedIn profile in the description on the podcast as well. So any listeners on Spotify, Apple Music, check out the description and we'll have a link to Joop's LinkedIn profile there. So thank you very much, Joop, for taking the time out this morning and coming on to the podcast. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. Delighted. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joop.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.